What is happening, everybody? It's Monday, July 27th. My name is Amal, and I'm going to be doing your morning Bitcoin and crypto analysis. Lots of different altcoins that I'm going to look at today. If you have some that you want me to look at, make sure you drop it in the chat. Come join our Discord. There's a free link below in the YouTube description, and I can do some TA for you guys. All right. Until then, let's get to Bitcoin because we've smashed through 10,000 pretty convincingly so far. So let's see exactly what Bitcoin is up to. Okay. So the one thing to note is that we had this pretty high wick Friday, or actually this was Saturday, right? And then we kind of rolled over back down, but then pushed again just yesterday, okay? So Sunday evening or so, we made this big push. And then now we're starting to, I wouldn't say top off, but this is a bit of an exhaustion move right here because we've had so much upside movement, but no meaningful retrace, right? So it's possible that maybe we get a deeper retracement, maybe towards 99.50, 98.75 or so. I personally think that the momentum is pretty strong with Bitcoin bulls right now. And if they want to keep that up, they need to just keep crushing it and pushing it higher and higher. Okay, because this would effectively squeeze out the bears and force them to essentially capitulate and go long, which again further forces the price to go up. Right, so these are the kinds of momentums that you want to capitalize on. Now, do I think we're just going to go straight up from here, 10,500 and beyond? I don't necessarily know yet. See, here's the thing. The one thing I'm concerned with is this big CME gap that we've left behind now since Friday. CME gaps have an astonishing rate of getting filled within the first week. Okay, it's something like a 90% rate or 94% rate of getting filled within the first week, which is insane because, you know, more often than not, well, not more often than not, but here and there, we do often have a CME gap, right? And so if you think about those gaps, getting filled within a week, I mean, that's a pretty good strategy in and of itself, which is, okay, you know, if price has overextended itself to the upside or downside and you've left a gap, you can effectively bet on that gap getting filled by taking a position on the other side wherever the gap's been left. And so in this case, what you could effectively do is you could take a short position with a stop above here, 10,400 or so, and try to fill that gap down here. Take a sip of water. Okay, so where we are right now is that we have a gap somewhere between 96.50 and all the way to about 99.30. I like to take the low end of the gap because that ensures that we've effectively filled the gap, right? So let's just say we have a gap right around this 96.50 area, okay? Now, Bitcoin is trading $600 higher from where we are, almost $600, right? So effectively, what the bears really need to do, especially the CME players, because they are some big players in the market, remember each one of their contracts is 5 Bitcoin, okay? So if they have 100 contracts, well, that's 500 Bitcoin. You know, if they have 1,000, that's 5,000 Bitcoin, and so on and so forth, because the CME players often, you know, could be positioned together, right? So there could be a large swath of traders who are potentially maybe short right here, and now they're trapped up here. They need to force the price down, right? Have people buy into their position right here so they can close out at a minimal loss. This is why gaps happen, okay? And this is why gaps get filled, all right? It's because there are traders right now in this area who are in losing positions, okay? They are trapped effectively. So what they need is they need to get bailed out, and they don't ask for handouts. CME traders are pretty big professional players. They know the way to actually will the market and force the market to turn its hand and go to the other side, whether it's simply by using their own resources and their money. I've made a video about 2 years ago where I stated that, you know, it's very possible that CME traders coordinate with bigger players from other bigger exchanges like BitMEX, like OKX, and effectively can drive the price down that way by a coordinated, engineered attack. Okay, and to be honest, I think it happens in the stock market here and there too. Stock markets have a ridiculously high rate of getting gaps filled. So in this instance, I do think that this gap is a bit concerning. So that kind of puts our upside in a bit more of a peril, right? From here, I mean, the higher you go, the farther away the gap is, and you don't really know if that gap is going to get filled if we just keep stretching up higher and higher. I guess you could make the argument that, okay, if we look at this key high right here, which was in the 1st of June, okay, well, we could maybe do something like this where we wick up into that area and then start dumping heavily down here. Okay, so I could see that as the case. But if I was running the market, I would probably do it right here because there's a couple of reasons why. I think over the last several days, one thing I've realized is, in this entire run, everybody has gone full bull mode. The BitMEX exchange, I think, is charging a funding rate of 0.1%, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so pretty high funding rate. All right. Aside from that, I really think that if you start looking at the stochastics, the oscillators right here, even the RSI, man, it's a bit overstretched. Like you could see, it's right, digging into that overbought territory. Let's check out the daily as well. You can see the daily is reaching into that overbought territory as well, right? So the point is, this area right here, it's a critical area for us to, want to be a little bit more careful. Okay. Aside from that, there's this TD sequential, which I've stated before. TD sequential is not this, magic number that just tells you when there's a 9, you sell or buy. It effectively helps you understand the exhaustion that's coming in relation to, whatever else is happening in the surroundings. So if we're looking at this very carefully, you can see, gosh, that 9 is so tiny. But this is a 9. Okay, this is a perfect 9 where you can seek that this is the exhaustion of this potential trend that we have right now. Okay, so effectively, we should be looking at this as a potential reversal. Doesn't mean it has to be, but it's time to be a little bit more careful. Okay, so if you're thinking about going long right here, well, you're effectively buying into very, very strong resistance, right? Because this is multi-month resistance, as you can see from back here, touch right there, and touch right there, as well as this TD sequential 9. So I don't recommend shorting this because, this is bullish momentum of Bitcoin. Once you start seeing maybe some structural breaks of certain levels, like, if you start seeing 10,000 breakdown, my key level that I'm watching right now is 98.75. If you start seeing 98.75 start to break, this is a very, very key level that I had even stated last week why it's important for us to watch this level. And so we actually held this as support, as you can see. We broke up through it, held it as support, and now we're pushing higher. But if you cannot hold 98.75, if you cannot hold a psychological level of 10,000, well, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, because that would effectively mean that this whole thing was kind of, just a deviation above 98.75, and then maybe you're going to start breaking down, and that might fill up that CME gap. Another way I like to look at the market is effectively looking at ETH. ETH is by far one of the best assets to look at in correlation with Bitcoin. Forget the S&P 500, forget gold, forget the dollar. I do think S&P 500 is pretty important to look at, but Ethereum, more often than not, has given you very telling signs of imminent breaks up or down for Bitcoin by ETH doing it first. In this entire run-up, even from back here, I have caught most of these moves to tell my members, our Advantage members, that here's a breakout of ETH. I'm certain, at least, more confident rather, that Bitcoin is going to follow. Bitcoin followed right here. This breakout right here, the sideways consolidation move and push up. We also found this to be a potential breakout. Even last night, we found this to be a potential breakout. So we've caught, a couple of longs in this area right here, okay, in this stretch up. And so have our Advantage members. So understanding markets in relation to, what other assets are useful to look at, very important as part of your homework. Very important, okay? So let's see what else is going on in altcoins, right? You know what, let's go back to Bitcoin actually, or not Bitcoin, Ethereum. So one thing about Ethereum is I have just one other target that I have for ETH, which I think we can reach to, okay? And that's this marker right here, 355. You can see the importance of that marker way back here from June 2017. Look at multiple touches right here before we smashed up, headed for that 1300 or 1400 high in that parabolic movement at the end of 2017. And look how fast and hard we crashed right back to that area, 355 or so. I'm not saying it's going to be 355 exactly. It could be like 360, 362 or something like that, or it could be 350. But just a general marker, okay? You want to pay attention to that marker though. Again, over here, July 2019, smashed right up into that 355 marker again, rolled over. So if you're comparing Bitcoin, right, and its own respective 10,500 level, which is this strong resistance, that in translation with ETH is this 355 level. It's a very important level. So I personally think that ETH still has legs to potentially push this area. If you smash through 355, I would probably say we're going to 480, maybe even $500. But again, we're a bit of a ways away from that. I want to take it one level at a time. And this is why I want to take Bitcoin, one level at a time too, because we haven't really seen, clear breakouts above this, resistance right here. For all we know, right, this could be a major trap that could be set up to maybe lure in, a bunch of buyers here, top buyers effectively buying into resistance, and then we start slowly bleeding or rolling over. And that is a very big possibility. I'm not going to rule that out because Bitcoin has done that over and over again, guys. Whether it did it back here or it did it back here, or even trap people right here and then rolled down for almost a month and a half. So you want to be careful, right? But I do think that shorting here, it may not be the best idea, because you haven't quite seen a strong rejection. You haven't quite seen a rollover in price or a huge sell volume come in. So in this particular instance, I would probably say that, at present moment, you want to be looking for pullbacks to long. Again, not investment advice, but that's how I would be looking at this market. Okay. All right, let's take a look at some other altcoins. So ETC was another one that I wanted to look at because some of our members were asking about it. Okay, so here's ETC. All right. Decent, kind of movement right here. For ETC, the local resistance, so I've been watching this one also. Where is it? Is it this marker? No, I think it's just right here. So I think we'll just pay attention to this one right here. Okay, so that's right around 753. I'd probably say this current candle or maybe the next one that's coming up might smash into this area. If it breaks through, then we're probably headed up here around 825 all the way to 875. The one thing about ETC is when it moves, it moves. Okay, when it moves, it really just goes parabolic. All right, so do pay attention to this one. I don't think the oscillators are too overstretched. Like you can see the MACD is just now, starting to cross into the positive territory. The histogram right there is starting to tick green again. The bull cross has just happened just about a couple days ago, and now we're starting to tick back up. So this could bode very well. This could also be the time where Bitcoin has had a good, strong 8 or 9 days of upside movement. Remember, when Bitcoin takes off like that aggressively, well, not all altcoins can hold up. They effectively get sold off because Bitcoin is demanding more money, more volume, and more strength. So I would probably say more of the algos and bots position themselves to go long Bitcoin and then pull out of other altcoins. That's why you see altcoins dumping and Bitcoin just aggressively taking off. Now, here's the question. Has Bitcoin kind of cooled off a little bit here? Is it going to go sideways? Is it going to retrace? Either way, if it goes sideways or retraces, right? So let's just say, from here, it pulls up, goes sideways, maybe bleeds down a little bit for 2, 3, 4 days. Well, that could bode very well for altcoins, specifically something like ETC. Another one I'm paying attention to is BNB, right? So we got into BNB way the heck down here, 1815 or so. We're doing pretty darn well, so far. We're up about a good 6.5%, 7%, okay? So I think BNB can go pretty far because they also did announce on Binance that they're going to restart IEOs. Remember, those are initial exchange offerings. And to participate in that, you have to have BNB. So that kind of generates a whole separate demand for BNB. All right. And so BNB could probably hit maybe 2134, 2135, all the way to 2640 or so. Okay. Let's check out Link too. So Link has been, suffering because Bitcoin has been taking off, right? As you can see, Link is down into 718, this area right here. It has not been able to hold above this key marker, which is around 780 or so. Unless it does that, I don't see Link going back to $8 or higher. It's very possible that we just kind of keep bleeding slowly from here. Another thing that I'm kind of noticing in Link, which is kind of bad in my opinion, is like a descending, triangle structure, kind of like that. Let me sort of zoom out of this thing. It's not perfect, but it sure as hell looks like a descending triangle. I'll tell you that. Okay. So just something to be aware of, remember descending triangles like this at the top are bearish, so you could see maybe a downside movement of, I don't know, from here, if you were just doing a measured move, we could be back at $6, maybe, $5 or so, which takes us back to way the heck here before we broke out. I would probably say maybe right around this area we bounce, because this is the area where most of these candles moved sideways and then we pushed up, which happens to be, right there around the $6, $6.10. So that kind of makes this measured move, movement down towards that target. Okay. So do pay attention to Link. I don't think it's a given that altcoins are definitely going to move up, but I've stated before, even in my video, if you go check out my video, I'm going to attach it at the end of this video, where I talk about potential alt season developing, what altcoins you want to pay attention to, and one altcoin that I believe has a potential of 1,000% and higher. Okay. And several other DeFi altcoins that I go through. So the video is going to be at the end of what you're watching right now. But yeah, so, when it comes to Link, do be careful on it. As long as Bitcoin, demands strength, I think altcoins are going to suffer. Okay. If Bitcoin moves sideways and pulls back, like I said, well, alts could party a little bit. All right. CME gap we talked about. Let's check out the ES, because remember, we like to watch the S&P 500 to show us exactly what it is thinking about. It looks like, on the 4-hour time frame, maybe it's trying to like grind up and push up higher. We'll see. We do have the stimulus package being passed today, so who knows, that could be doing well for the market. So we'll see. We'll see how the market opens. All right. I hope this video was helpful, guys. Hit the thumbs up if you like my content. Join the free Discord below. We have a paid side where we discuss all our positions in the market, whether it's Bitcoin trading, tons of positions right here in altcoin scalps, altcoin leverage short, leverage long, the spot buys that we're buying. So all this is available to you for $97 per month. The link is below. You can go sign up on our website. All right. And we also do a lot of equities trading as well as options trading. So we show our members exactly what we're doing in the market so you can stay up to date with all our positions live. Okay. Y'all take care. Have a good rest of the day. Hit the thumbs up, and I'll talk to you soon.